Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, your brother Banyamyon here with another video. Alright. Okay, this is just a prophecy report, okay, on a military vet testifies at Capitol Hill about Charriot sightings on military base. Okay, and this military vet, a veteran, alright, reports of a Charriot sighting, over a military base. Okay, and we'll just go into this video of how the Lord is visiting the earth. Okay, he's making a visitation of the earth, especially as of Esau, Edom, his rulership, his kingdom. And all these things are, that happening are pointing out to his demise. Okay, and as of this year, 2026, all right, we saw real things, eclipse, had all that, okay, earthquakes, more things to come, and even with the chariot making the angels making their appearances, on the earth, signifies of the kingdom to come. This man's rulership is done. Okay, and as you'll see in this video, the expression on this man's face, is fear. As he, genuine fear. Alright, a phobia, as he testifying to the court, however, Mr. Bordelon, basically a Edomite, vet. Okay, and is the Lord, bringing that fear, that dismay on them. It's signifying their end. Okay, what immediately come to mind is that the rule in Zechariah 5, entering into the house of the thief. Okay, which we'll read. Okay, and which the chariots, as he described, had a certain light, a lightning. Okay, and a light, the chariots have, have all these things. Okay, these kind of appearances, as described in the scriptures. Okay, and they are identified in the scriptures, as the world sees UAP, okay, or UFO. We are not dismayed because we understand what are the chariots. All right, the heavenly vessels of the Heavenly Father, okay, which the angels, go at his command, on these vessels. All right, so I'll play it, okay, and get into the video.
The light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. I can't tell you if it's active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light, and then it was a triangle. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead. I remember how thick it was. It was between 1 to 2 stories thick, equilateral triangle. I could never see the top of it, and the edges were 90 degrees. There were 4 lights in total, 1 light on each corner, and a larger light in the center, 2 to 3 times the size of the corner lights. But what was really odd was the outside. The best way to describe it is like looking at a James Webb telescope picture, where you have the colors and then the black background. So the craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft. I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion, and I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm.
Yes, like here. So as you saw in the video, alright, and you see a genuine fake, he saw this made at these things, and this is the sign of the Lord's, appearance, visitation on the earth, as we'll be touching. And if you read Ezekiel, bear with me here, Ezekiel chapter 1, it describes basically the appearance of the angels and of the chariots, the rings, right? As a name, in the verse, in the chapter here. Bear with me, and we'll start at verse 13. And as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps, it went up and down among the living creatures. Okay, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. As the chariots, are living creatures, as the, brother put, in the video. It's not flesh. The Egyptians, basically, the horses are flesh, while the chariots are not flesh. They are divine, okay? Made from, they are heavenly, made from Yahweh Shem Yahushai, okay? Alright, and as he was describing with the light, alright, verse 14, it says, and the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I beheld the living creatures, the prophet Ezekiel, alright, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with 4 faces, which is the chariot, alright. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl. And color of beryl is a brown, a jasper, stone. When you go into it, bear with me here, in the wood, alright, is a precious stone or semi-precious gem, perhaps a chrysolite, yellow jasper, or other yellow colored stones. Yellow, so it had the appearance of something like this on screen. Okay, as you see, a yellow light, emanating, illuminating in the chariot, of the chariot. Okay, reading on, it says, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Okay, a circular motion with a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Verse 17. Okay, when they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. Meaning, as the classic chariot, the saucers, the flying saucers. Okay, they just go. They don't have to turn like Esau's plane. And all that, okay. Verse 18, as for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them 4. Okay, which are the windows of the chariots, as you see 4 lights, as he was describing. Okay, this Edomite vet was describing. Okay, and they are dismayed, and this is nothing new, as the Lord been making appearances, on the earth, with astronauts talking about these things, as Trump bringing out files UFO files, early this year. The chariots are making known, are being manifested. Okay, and it's dreadful to him sight. Okay. Bear with me here. Okay. So we'll read Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, Hear ye the word of the Lord speaketh. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And the chariots are a sign of salvation, of basically a curse to Esau Edom's kingdom. As you see, he is dismayed. He has a phobia. As you see his reaction, explain it. And as all of our people have, this expression on the youth. And are dismayed. The elect, and the prophets, we are not dismayed. This is something to be rejoiced and to look at as the downfall of this man's kingdom. Okay, as they push in this narrative as the chariots being a threat. Because ultimately these jakes are blinded. Okay, that's why the Lord say who shall he find faith on the youth? Having that faith, having that belief and understanding these things the elect will have. But the point is, this man is being dismayed at these things, coming in these times. Alright? At chariots, alright? Okay. This is Zechariah chapter 5. I read some verses down. It says, Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Which according to the measurement, the dimensions, is a small chariot. Alright, it says, Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. The curse unto Esau Edom. Okay. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and every one that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And okay, this will be of Esau Edom. The curse, this is a curse, to them. They are being dismayed at the appearances of the chariots, right? Okay. Really now, those visiting the earth and, recompense, vengeance for the Lord's people. Alright. Okay, Israel, primarily being the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Alright. Okay. Verse 4 says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, Lord of armies, okay, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. The house of the thief, the house of bondage, modern day Egypt, modern day Babylon would be, America, okay, who done injustice to our people, okay, this is entering into the house of the thief, okay, this sighting was in the States, America, okay. It says, and unto the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, Amalek, okay, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof, which are that laser beam, of the chariots, a weapon, so all these things are manifestations of his end, and it is soon to come. Yahushua is soon to come on a cloud, that chariot, the horse, a literal horse, in Revelation 6, horse representing power, you know, it's the spiritual, it's like, you know, it's the heavenly vessels, you know, that the Yahushua is gonna return in that massive chariot, gonna return in, you know, in these last days. All right, okay. We also get this is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse, all right, 8. Okay, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, being the prophets, the mouthpiece, by the Rakakodash, okay, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. You know, being the chariots and the appearance, the appearance, you know, thereof, okay, you know, coming, you know, making known on the earth. Okay, you go into that word in the Greek, brightness, okay.
Strong's G 2015. Epiphania.
Okay, and appearance, you know, so by the appearance of the chariots, you know, they are gonna be destroyed, you know, according, you know, Revelation 7 verse 1. Okay, or is it Revelation 1 verse 7? It's like here. Okay, being you know, all they will wail because of him. You know, a frightening, you know, dread, you know, is already coming on these devils, and more so in that day. Okay. Let's bring this. This is second. Bear with me here. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently. Okay, and how the prophets, we, you know, of GMS, the apostles, on down measuring the times. Measuring the time is by the book, which of each prophecy come, you know, we measure, you know, what are going on in the world diligently, daily, alright, in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs which I have told thee before, then shalt thou well understand, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. You know, so by seeing these things, we understand that the time is near when the highest will begin to visit the world. Okay, which is the Allahayim, the powers, okay, the angels with, you know, with Yahushai, okay, you know, they coming back, they're making an appearance on the earth, you know, and, you know, it's coming to the final visitation, the return of Yahushai. Okay, it says, therefore, it's like here, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. The end is manifest of Esau Edom, his kingdom, his end. His age is coming to an end. You know, coming down with great wrath, all these things, but, you know, it becomes his time, you know, draw near, you know, that the stone is coming to strike the foot, you know, that just referencing that Daniel chapter 2 from verse 44, which is, you know, that ultimately that chariot, you know, that Yahushua is gonna come back in. Okay, all right. Verse 6 reading on, it says, even so the times of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And this is what you see on the times of the highest, the angels, you know, doing the command of the Lord, okay, in plain beginnings, in wonders and powerful works, in endings and effects and signs. You know, this is effects and signs
1 to 2
of the end to come, of new beginnings to come, the kingdom to come, you know, so it's near. Okay, you know, Kala Lal Yahweh Basham Yahushai Basham Rakakodash. Okay, this is effects and signs of the highest, you know. Okay, it's just one more precept and you will close it out. This is Luke 21 and verse 25. We will read, the return of Mashiach. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, which we are seeing on the earth. Okay, which I said, this year. Alright, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity. The sea and the waves roaring, perplexity. As you see, this man's perplexed. Everybody is perplexed in America. These Edomites, the economy going down. Even with the manifestation of these chariots. Okay. It says, 26, men's heart feeling them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Okay, it's feeling. So yeah, it's this, fearful look.
Stories.
On his face. Earth me here. Very dismayed face. Okay. So men's heart feeling them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Which the powers of heaven representing meaning rulership, being shaken, the elite. Okay, they are they are being shaken. Alright, verse 27. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. The cloud representing a chariot of the Son of Man, which is Yahweh Shai, coming back with great glory, great power. These are the appearance, or that entrance with the chariots. Okay, with the chariots. Alright, verse 28, it says, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And it's nigh, as we've seen it in the internet. Okay, and even personal. Okay, with some brothers, we've seen that it is near. This man's kingdom is about to fall, go down. Yahweh Shai is about to return with these signs we are seeing. Alright, so I hope this video was edifying. I'm going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa Abad Babal and Shalom.